Every fall, countless gardeners shovel compost into their beds, thinking they're feeding the soil. But come spring, the plants still struggle. Why? Because compost alone doesn't create living soil. It just fades away without the right conditions. This fall, there's a smarter way. One that saves effort, builds richer soil, and works with nature, not against it. Before you lift that shovel again, you'll want to see this simple shortcut most gardeners completely overlook. Meet Ruth from Ohio. Ruth, a 74-year-old gardener from a small town in Ohio, had been gardening for over 4 decades. Every fall, she'd faithfully spread compost over her raised beds, believing it was the secret to rich, healthy soil. But each spring, her plants told a different story: stunted growth, yellow leaves, and tired, lifeless dirt. Her back ached from lifting heavy bags. Her wallet thinned from buying premium compost. And deep down, Ruth wondered if she was doing something wrong. Then one chilly October afternoon, while sorting through her late grandfather's gardening journal, she stumbled upon an old note that read, "Feed the soil, not just fill it." Those words changed everything. Instead of dumping compost like she always did, Ruth decided to mimic what nature does in the forest, layering fallen leaves, twigs, and garden scraps right on top of the bed, letting winter's rain and microbes do the work. By spring, she didn't just have better soil, she had living soil. Earthworms thrived. Her lettuce was greener, her tomatoes heavier, and her garden needed half the effort. Ruth's story isn't just about gardening. It's about rediscovering wisdom that time tried to bury, the kind that reminds us sometimes. The best way to grow is to stop overworking the earth and simply let it breathe. The shortcut: layering fall waste into living soil. Ruth's secret wasn't a product or a pricey gardening hack. It was nature's own quiet rhythm. Instead of dumping heaps of finished compost into her garden beds, she began layering what she already had: fallen leaves from her oak tree, the last cuttings of grass before frost, wilted vegetable stems, a few handfuls of kitchen scraps, and even bits of torn cardboard. Each layer served a purpose. The browns added carbon, the greens added nitrogen, and together, they created the perfect buffet for soil life. She started with a layer of cardboard to suppress weeds, laid a soft blanket of leaves, sprinkled in her kitchen scraps, then topped it with grass clippings and a thin layer of existing soil. No mixing, no turning, no stir back, just gentle stacking and patience. As the cold set in, moisture and microbes quietly went to work. Beneath the surface, an invisible transformation began. The worms moved in, chewing through the layers. Fungi spread like fine threads, weaving organic matter into humus. By the time spring sunlight thawed the ground, her beds were soft, dark, and alive. The kind of soil gardeners dream about but rarely achieve with store-bought compost alone. This method, sometimes called sheet composting or lasagna gardening, is the fall shortcut most gardeners overlook. It mimics the forest floor, where decades of falling leaves, rain, and decay build deep, living soil naturally. You're not feeding your plants directly, you're feeding the soil. And the soil, in turn, feeds everything else. What makes it powerful is how simple it is. You don't need machinery. You don't need perfect compost ratios. And you don't need to break your back. You just need to trust the process, nature's process. Every layer becomes a slow-release fertilizer, building soil structure, moisture retention, and microbial activity over winter. When you plant in spring, your roots will find a thriving ecosystem waiting for them, not a dead bed waiting for nutrients. Ruth's neighbors couldn't believe it. They saw her skipping the fall compost routine and thought she'd given up. But when spring came, her garden told a different story: thriving lettuce, plump tomatoes, and soil so rich it crumbled between her fingers. That one fall shortcut saved her hours of labor, money on compost, and gave her back something most gardeners lose with time: the joy of ease. And the best part? You can do it too, right now. Walk into your yard, look around. The leaves falling at your feet, the trimmings from your last mowing, the cardboard from your delivery boxes, they're not waste. They're soil in disguise, waiting for a place to decompose and give life. So before you drag out that compost pile again, take a cue from Ruth and from nature itself. Stop trying to force fertility and start letting it unfold. Science behind it: why nature does the work better. Here's the part that amazes most gardeners: the best composting system on Earth isn't built by humans. It's built by nature. When you walk through a forest in autumn, you're stepping on layers of leaves, branches, and organic matter that have fallen year after year. No one turns them, no one measures nitrogen ratios. And yet the soil beneath is soft, dark, and bursting with life. That's because nature's system works from the ground up, quietly, efficiently, and perfectly balanced. When Ruth began layering her garden beds in fall, she unknowingly tapped into this ancient design. Each layer, leaves, grass clippings, food scraps, even cardboard, created a feast for microbes, fungi, and worms. The cold months didn't stop the process. They just slowed it down. Beneath the frozen surface, life kept moving. Here's how it works in simple terms. The top layers of organic material act like a blanket. They trap warmth and moisture, creating a safe haven for microscopic workers, bacteria, and fungi. These organisms start breaking down the layers, transforming dead matter into nutrients plants can easily absorb. Then come the worms, tunneling through the soil, mixing everything naturally while leaving behind castings. Nature's most powerful fertilizer. The result? You're not just adding nutrition to your garden. You're building structure. The soil becomes spongy and well aerated, holding water like a sponge during dry spells and draining easily after heavy rains. Roots find it easier to spread. Oxygen circulates more freely, and beneficial microbes thrive, creating a living, breathing ecosystem instead of a lifeless dirt patch. And this is where most gardeners go wrong. When you dump finished compost on top, you're skipping nature's slow, layered process. You're feeding the plants for a moment, but not investing in the soil's foundation. Layering, on the other hand, builds fertility that lasts. It's like switching from a fast food diet to a home-cooked meal for your garden. Even the timing is perfect. Fall's cooler temperatures and frequent rains help regulate decomposition. By spring, the layers have softened and blended just enough to become fertile, airy soil ready for planting. No shoveling, no turning, no heavy lifting, just time, patience, and trust in the natural order. Think of it like this. In nature, nothing goes to waste. Every leaf that falls, every twig that breaks, every scrap that decomposes, it all becomes the next generation's nourishment. Your garden can do the same if you let it. The moment you stop forcing growth and start mimicking the forest floor, your soil begins to heal itself. Step-by-step guide, how to build living soil before the frost. Now that you know why layering works, let's walk through how to do it. No fancy equipment, no heavy composting, just a few simple steps before the frost sets in. This is exactly what Ruth did in her Ohio garden, and you can follow the same method anywhere, whether you grow in raised beds, containers, or open ground. Step 1. Clear the surface, but leave the roots. Start by trimming down any dead or diseased plants, but don't pull out the roots of the healthy ones. Leaving those roots in the soil helps feed microbes as they decompose naturally underground. It also keeps the soil structure intact, like leaving tunnels that let air and water move freely. Every root is a future food source for earthworms and beneficial fungi. Step 2. Lay down a foundation layer. Use cardboard or thick layers of newspaper to cover the entire bed surface. This will smother weeds while attracting worms to the moist underside. Avoid glossy or heavily printed paper. Plain brown cardboard works best. This first layer mimics the forest floor's natural barrier and sets the stage for decomposition. Step 3. Add your browns. Next, add a layer of carbon-rich materials, dry leaves, shredded paper, straw, or small twigs. These browns act as the skeleton of your soil, giving structure and air pockets as they break down. Aim for 2 to 3 inches of material spread evenly. Step 4. Add your greens. Now it's time for the nitrogen-rich stuff: grass clippings, vegetable peels, coffee grounds, or chopped plant trimmings. These greens feed the microbes and kickstart decomposition. Sprinkle them lightly between the brown layers, almost like you're seasoning a dish. Too much can make it soggy, so balance is key, roughly 1 part green to 2 parts brown. Step 5. Top it with soil or old mulch. Finish with a few inches of your existing garden soil, compost, or old mulch. This layer acts as a protective blanket and adds native microbes to the mix, helping everything start breaking down faster. It also keeps the bed tidy and prevents wind from blowing the materials away. Step 6. Water it lightly. Give your layered bed a gentle soak. Not too much, just enough to moisten it through. This helps activate the microbes and keeps the environment damp enough for decomposition to begin. Water is like this switch that turns this system on. Step 7. Let nature take over. Now comes the best part. Do nothing. Seriously. Cover it with a breathable mulch if you like. Then leave it alone through the winter. As the cold sets in, earthworms, bacteria, and fungi will quietly transform those layers into rich humus. By spring, you'll uncover soil that's darker, softer, and full of life, ready for planting without lifting a shovel. What happens by spring? When the snow finally melted and the frost gave way to sunlight, Ruth stepped into her garden expecting to find a mess, maybe soggy leaves, moldy scraps, or half-decomposed cardboard. But what she discovered stopped her in her tracks. The moment she sank her trowel into the soil, it slid down effortlessly, like slicing through chocolate cake. The bed smelled earthy and sweet, that deep, woodsy scent of the forest floor. The leaves had vanished, the scraps had disappeared, and in their place was rich, crumbly humus alive with worms and tiny roots weaving through every inch. This was no longer tired, compacted dirt, it was living soil. When Ruth planted her spring seeds, everything changed. Her lettuce sprouted earlier and stayed tender longer. Her tomatoes grew twice as tall, their roots diving deep into the soft ground. Even her neighbors noticed. Her garden looked more vibrant, more alive than it ever had before. But it wasn't just the plants that transformed, it was Ruth too. For the first time in years, she didn't dread fall cleanup or spring prep. She didn't need to haul compost, bend her back, or buy fertilizers. She had learned to trust the process, to let nature do what it's always done best. The soil became her partner, not her project. And here's what really made her smile. The results kept getting better with each passing year. Because every season, instead of stripping the soil bare, she was adding to its life. Every leaf that fell, every bit of mulch that decomposed, it all became part of a self-sustaining system that fed itself. She had accidentally built a regenerative garden, one that required less work, fewer resources, and offered more abundance. By spring's full bloom, Ruth's backyard looked like something out of a magazine. Her strawberries formed lush carpets of green. The beans climbed higher than her trellis. The soil stayed moist, even during dry spells. And she noticed she barely needed to water. Her garden had become a living ecosystem, balanced, beautiful, and bursting with growth. And the best part? You can have the same transformation. You don't need acres of land or fancy compost bins. You just need to start where Ruth did, with what's already around you. Fallen leaves, grass clippings, kitchen scraps, the stuff most people throw away. In just a few months, that waste becomes your garden's greatest wealth. When spring comes, your soil will tell the story for you. You'll dig your fingers in and feel the difference. That cool, soft, sponge-like texture that means your garden is alive again. You'll see worms wriggling, smell that deep earthy aroma, and realize something powerful. Nature didn't need you to do more work. It just needed you to stop interrupting its rhythm. The wisdom of letting nature lead. As spring unfolded and Ruth's garden flourished, she realized the real lesson wasn't about compost or even soil, it was about trust. For years, she'd battled her garden like it was an enemy, digging, turning, hauling, forcing results through sheer effort. But nature was never asking her to work harder. It was quietly waiting for her to work with it. Now, sitting on her porch with a cup of tea, Ruth looks out over her thriving beds and smiles. The once lifeless soil is now alive with movement, birds picking at worms, bees hovering over blossoms, butterflies drifting between blooms. Everything is working together in quiet harmony. She doesn't rush anymore. She doesn't measure success by how much she gets done, but by how much life she helps create. Ruth often says the biggest change wasn't in her garden, but in herself. I stopped fighting the seasons, she laughs. I stopped thinking I had to fix everything right away. I let the earth breathe, and somehow, I learned to breathe with it. That's the beauty of this lesson. It goes beyond gardening. It's about patience, renewal, and faith in slow growth. Good soil, like good living, takes time. You can't rush it, and you can't force it. You nurture it gently, step back, and let it unfold. Just as roots dig quietly before shoots appear. Some of the best transformations happen beneath the surface, unseen, but deeply powerful. For many older gardeners, like Ruth, that truth resonates deeply. It's the same wisdom life teaches us. After years of working, striving, and giving, there comes a time to trust the process, to let things mature, ripen, and return full circle. The seasons have a rhythm for a reason. Winter rests, spring renews, summer rewards, and fall reminds us to give back to the earth. And maybe that's why this method feels so peaceful. It's not just about saving energy, it's about finding peace in simplicity. When you stop forcing and start allowing, you realize that creation was designed to restore itself. Nature knows how to heal. All it needs is your willingness to let it. So if you're standing in your garden this fall, wondering if your small efforts make a difference, remember Ruth's story. You don't have to do everything at once. Just take one step, lay down those leaves, let the microbes work, and give the earth time to breathe again. When you do, something shifts not just in your soil, but in your spirit. Because gardening, the real kind, isn't about control. It's about cooperation. It's about humility, gratitude, and offer how much life can grow when you stop getting in its way. As Ruth likes to say, the soil doesn't need me to be strong. It just needs me to be still. That's the wisdom of letting nature lead. The same patience that turns waste into rich soil can turn a tired soul into a renewed one. And that's the beauty of this simple fall shortcut. It doesn't just build better gardens. It builds better gardeners. So before you buy another bag of compost or strain your back trying to fix your soil again, take a breath and try this one simple fall shortcut. Let the earth do what it's been doing perfectly for millions of years. Layer your leaves, your scraps, your clippings, and walk away. Then, when spring arrives, watch your garden thank you in the language of abundance, richer soil, greener plants, and the joy of knowing you worked with nature, not against it. If Ruth's story taught us anything, it's that gardening isn't a race, it's a rhythm. It's not about how much you do, but how much you understand the quiet systems already in motion. The forest doesn't rush, and yet it thrives. The soil doesn't demand, and yet it produces. When we learn from that rhythm, we grow not only better gardens, but better lives. Imagine this. If every gardener this fall chose to layer their waste instead of throwing it away, we'd keep millions of pounds of organic matter out of landfills and build living soil in every backyard. One simple habit, one season at a time, could restore the land beneath our feet. That's the quiet revolution Ruth started in her little Ohio garden. And now, it's your turn. So here's your challenge. Before the frost sets in, grab what nature's already giving you. Look around your yard, the fallen leaves, the cut grass, the fading plants, and see them not as mess, but as material. Layer them, water lightly, and trust the process. Come spring, dig your fingers into that new soil and feel what patience, wisdom, and time can create. And if this story inspired you, if it reminded you of the quiet joy that comes from working the land and watching life return, give this video a like. Share it with a fellow gardener who might need a little encouragement this season. Maybe it's a neighbor, a friend, or even your grandchild just starting their first raised bed. Let's spread this wisdom the way nature spreads seeds, gently, freely, and with faith that something good will grow. And don't forget to subscribe to the Evergreen Seniors, where old wisdom grows new life. Here, we celebrate the lessons our hands and hearts have learned and pass them forward. Every video, every story, is a seed meant to inspire you to slow down, reconnect with the earth, and rediscover the beauty of simplicity. Engagement prompt. What garden tricks or timeless methods did your parents or grandparents swear by? Maybe it was planting by the moon, watering at dawn, or using old coffee grounds for soil health. Drop those memories in the comments. Your story might become our next video. Because when we share these old lessons, we keep their roots alive for another generation of gardeners. So go ahead, step outside, breathe in that crisp fall air, and start your own living soil story. No compost bins, no heavy lifting, just you, the earth, and a little trust in the way nature was meant to work.